Here are the video solutions for AQA Functional Skills Maths Level 1. This is paper 2, which is the calculator paper, and this is from November 2021. So question number 1 in section A, circle 32,089 written in digits. So we need to remember that words like billion, million and thousand can be represented with a comma. So can you write 32? Well, hopefully you can. So 32, replace thousand with a comma, and now we're writing 89, but we can't just write 89, it's got to be 0, 8, 9. So after a comma, we're writing always 3 digits. Now we can take the comma out if we don't really want to have the comma there, or we can leave a space, but these commas are quite helpful for writing figures or digits in words, or for turning worded problems like this into digits. So we can see it's 32089, and that is answer 3. Okay, question number 2. A fair ordinary dice is rolled once. Mark on the line, mark with an X the probability that it lands on an even number. So if you're throwing a dice, you can only get a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5 or a 6. There are only 1, 2, 3 even numbers, so that is 3 out of 6. We can see that this has been helpfully divided into 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is 1 out of 6, this is 2 out of 6, 3 out of 6 is here, so it's halfway along, because let's face it, we should be vaguely aware that the probability of getting an even number is 50-50 on a dice. Okay, so number 3, write them in order starting with the smallest. So if you're struggling with this, the negative numbers will cause a problem, then do a number line 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So should be no issues going upwards in this direction. This is the direction we need to think about. Minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, minus 5, minus 6, minus 7, minus 8. So we know if we're going in this towards the right, we're getting bigger. So if we're going in this direction, we are getting smaller. So let's just circle the numbers we need. So negative 8, 3, minus 5, minus 1, 2, 0, and negative 2. So smallest first, well, that's going to be minus 8, then minus 5, minus 2, minus 1, 0, 2, 3. So number line makes that one so much easier. Question number 4. Well, first of all, let's just have an estimate of what this angle is. We can see that it's an obtuse angle because it's greater than 90 degrees and it's less than 180. So it's got to be somewhere between 90 and 180. We can see that it's closer to 180 than it is to 90. But if you put a protractor along here and just take a measurement, which is very hard for me to, well, it's impossible for me to demonstrate on the screen at the moment, but you should measure this angle here to be 160 degrees, although anything between 158 and 162 is acceptable. Question number 5, draw all the lines of symmetry on this shape. So if I were to fold down this line, then this left hand side would sit perfectly on the right hand side. Now if I rotate this around 90 degrees, then the shape would look exactly the same, so therefore we've got another line of symmetry there as well. But don't forget, we could also fold right down this line here, and this left hand side would sit perfectly on the right hand side, and similarly this line here is the 4th line of symmetry. So it has 4 lines of symmetry from point to point twice, and then halfway through the middle of this slightly curved part as well. Question number 6, work out which is smaller, 15% of 180 or 20% of 120. Okay, so 15% of 180, let's work out 10%. 10% is 18, so therefore 5% is half of 10%, so half of 18 is 9, so therefore 15% is going to be 18 plus 9, which is 27. Here we're working out 20% of 120, or 10% is going to be 1/10 of that, which is 12. 20% is going to be double that, so 24. So which is smaller? Well, we can see 27 is bigger than 24, so 24 is less than 27, so 20% of 120 is smaller. Might put those words in just to be completely clear. Okay, so number 7, work out the range. So we need to remember that the range is the biggest, subtract the smallest. So the biggest in this set of numbers is 58, and the smallest is 12, and 58 take away 12 is 46. So the range is 46. Okay, on to section B, question 8 about the charity shop. So the first thing I would do is fill in this frequency column here. We can just count the tally marks. Helpfully, they are grouped in bunches of 5. So we can see here 5, 10, 15, 5, 6, 7, 5, 10, 15, 20, plus 3, 23, and 5, 10, 11. Okay, so Melissa says more than a quarter of the items sold were shirts. Well, first of all, how many shirts were sold? Well, that is 23 plus 7 plus 15 plus 11. Don't know why I scrambled the order there. I think I just wanted to put the 23 and the 7 together because I know that's 30, but you can use a calculator anyway. So this comes to a total of 56. So let's work out, well, what is a quarter of 56? 1 quarter of 56, well, that is the same as 56 divided by 4, and 56 divided by 4 is 14. So how many shirts were sold? Well, 15. So since 15 is greater than 14, so we can therefore say that Melissa is correct. Okay, so on to part B. So Melissa is paid £1.20 per 500 grams. So if she's selling a batch with 143.5 kilos, probably easier if we turn this kilo amount into grams. Now, hopefully you know that a kilo is 1,000 grams. So when we're converting kilos to grams, we are multiplying by 1,000. 143.5 multiplied by 1,000 is 143,500, and we want to work out how many 500s go into 143,500. So 143,500 divided by 500, we can simplify this if we want, but if you're using a calculator, this makes no odds really. That comes to 287. So that's 287 batches of 500 grams in that amount there. So if she's paid £1.20 per 500 grams, that's going to be £1.20 times the 287 500 grams, and £1.20 times by 287 comes to 344.40. Now she also gets 10% extra for more than 100 kilos, so this is more than 100 kilos, so she'll get an additional 10% of the 344.40, and 10% is this amount here divided by 10, which comes to £34.44. So therefore she will receive 344.40 plus the 34.44. So our final calculation is 344.40 plus 34.44, and that comes to an overall total of £378.84. Moving on to part C. So we know that a bottle of shampoo is 400 millilitres, and she's filling it from a container that holds 12 litres. So again, we've got mixed units here. We've got millilitres and litres. Easier if we convert 12 litres into millilitres. 1 litre is 1,000 millilitres. So again, when we're doing this conversion from litres to millilitres, we're multiplying by 1,000. So 12 times 1,000 is 12,000 millilitres. So we've got 12,000 millilitres, and we want to know how many 400s go into 12,000. So that is 12,000 divided by 400, and 12,000 divided by 400 is 30. So she can fill 30 bottles from that large container. On to question number 9. So we know that for 8 scones we need 360 grams of mix, but Brandon wants to make 40 scones, so we just need to work out how many times greater than 8 is 40. Well, 40 divided by 8 is 5, so basically we are just multiplying this whole recipe by 5. So for 40 scones we will need 360 times by 5 grams of mix, and 360 multiplied by 5 is 1,800 grams of scone mix. Now he's already got 200, so if we take away the 200 from the 1,800, we're left with 1,600 grams. So that's how much more scone mix Brandon will need, 1,600. On to B. Okay, so what we need to do is work out the area of this birthday cake. So split it into bite-sized chunks, because we can work out the area of, well, this is a square, so we've got 6 times by 6, which is 36 square centimetres. And here this is a rectangle, which is 7 by, we don't know this top dimension, but we know it's 8 from here to here, and 6 from here to here, and 8 from this point to this point. So 8 plus 8 plus 6, this is 22 centimetres. So we've also got a 7 times by 22, and 7 multiplied by 22 is 154 square centimetres. So therefore the overall area of the cake is simply 36 plus 154, and that comes to a total of 190 square centimetres. Brandon has enough icing for an area of 200. Does he have enough icing for the top of the cake? Well, the answer is yes, because 190 square centimetres is less than 200 square centimetres, or 200 is greater than 190. Or you could just say, yeah, he's got he's got 10 square centimetres more than he needs, something along those lines. Okay, so on to part C. I think this question is quite confusing, because it says here that the volume of the container is the weight of the flour in kilos times by 2,400, which to me doesn't quite make sense, because well, surely the container has a fixed volume. It's not going to change if you put in a kilo of flour or 10 kilos of flour. The volume of the container remains the same. I think what they need to say here is the volume of the flour. So what I'm going to do here is work out the volume of this cuboid box, which I would describe this as the container. Anyway, let's work out the volume of the box, which is the 3 dimensions multiplied together, 30 times 35 times by 40, and that comes to 42,000 cubic centimetres. So what we need to do is work out the volume of 16 kilos of flour, and that is going to be the weight of the flour in kilos, 16 times by 2,400, and 16 multiplied by 2,400 is 38,400 cubic centimetres. So I think this is what the formula is trying to say here, is that the volume of the flour is, well, is this calculation, therefore we would need a container which is exactly 38,400 cubic centimetres in order to accommodate 16 kilos of flour. We've got a box that is 42,000, which is greater than 38,400. So can the box hold 16 kilos of flour? Well, the answer is yes, because 42,000 is greater than 38,400. There we go. So slightly confusing. I just think that slightly misleading formula there, in my opinion. Okay, so question number 10. So if Spencer works 3 days a week from 7:30 till 12, that means each day he does 4.5 hours. So if he does that 3 days a week, that's 3 lots of 4.5 hours, and that comes to a total of 13.5 hours. In total, he receives that amount there. So how much does he get per hour? Well, that is £151.47 divided by 13.5, and that comes to £11.22. Is this more than £11 per hour? Yes, we can say Spencer receives £11.22, which is greater than £11. On to part B. So what we need to do is work out the rates per page. So we know that 138 pages is £2.76, so therefore one page is going to be £2.76 divided by 138, so one page is 0.02. So if he's claiming 97 pages, that's going to be 97 pages, that's going to be 97 times by 0.02, and that comes to £1.94. So that's how much he can claim for 97 pages. So £1, oh, the pound sign's already there, £1.94. Okay, on to part C. What we need to do is work out the total and then divide by the number of phone calls. So first of all, we've got 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 12 calls. Total call duration is all of these numbers added together. So just smash them all into a calculator. That should become 69. So 69 minutes. So therefore the average, or the mean, is 69 divided by 12, and 69 divided by 12 is 5.75. So did Spencer hit his target that day? His target was for, we can see up here, it's less than 5 minutes. No, he didn't hit the target. Since, it's not pounds, is it? 5.75 minutes is greater than 5 minutes, and that is more than adequate. On to question 11, school leavers. So the pie chart shows what students did when they left the school year. Now the key thing is we have got the measurements of the angles, so 20, 160, 180, but the key thing really is the fact that 90 students went to a sixth form. So therefore what we can say is that 180 degrees represents 90 students. Now hopefully we can spot that the number of students is exactly half the angle. 180 divided by 2 is 90. So therefore I'll put A for apprenticeship, so therefore 20 degrees represents half of 20 is 10 students. And for college, which I'll represent with C, 160 degrees for half that is 80 students. Now, does it give us the total number of students? No, it doesn't, because I was going to say, well, if it did, I would just add them up to check it corresponded with the total, but the total wasn't given. Okay, so it does say how many more students went to college than started an apprenticeship, so it's quite an easy calculation. It's just 80, take away 10, the difference between these two values, so that is therefore a difference of 70 students more. So there's our answer, 70. On to part B. So what we need to do here is add up how long it's going to take to get all these things done. So that's 40 plus 15 plus 35, which is 90 minutes. Now 90 minutes is quite easy to turn into hours and minutes because that is 1 hour 30. So 9 minutes equals 1 hour 30, or 1.5 hours. So we just need to go backwards 1.5 hours from 1:50. So it's 1:50 p.m. minus 1 hour 30 minutes. So take off an hour, that takes me to 12:50 p.m. and now I just need to take off 30 minutes, and if I go back 30 minutes from 50, that takes me to 12:20 p.m. So that's the latest that lunch should start, so 12:20 p.m. On to the final question, I believe, in the paper. So Jared is buying 2 jackets. So if it's 1/3 off, what is 1/3 of £24? Well, that is £24 divided by 3, which is £8. So it's £8 off. £24 take away £8 is £16. So the jacket is going to cost £16, and £16 multiplied by 2 is £32. So this was shop A. Okay, so shop B was buy one, get one. The second one is half price. So the first one is going to be £21.80 plus whatever a half of £21.80 is. So let's divide £21.80 by 2, and that is £10.90. So £21.80 plus £10.90, that comes to £32.70. So that is shop B. So which is cheaper? Well, shop A is cheaper, as price is 70p less. There we go, and that takes us to the end of the assessment.